Tonight on West Dakota Fox News at 9, children forced to jump for their lives after their New Jersey dance studio goes up in flames. Plus, the first signs of spring, but winter may not be done with us yet. But first, time could be running out to find a man alive who went missing along the Heart River.
This is West Dakota Fox News at 9 with Molly Martinez and meteorologist Henry Blakes. Your first news of the night starts right now on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
Good evening, I'm Molly Martinez. Our top story tonight, a search mission becomes a recovery effort. It's been over 36 hours since 74-year-old Lynn Fairfield was last seen. Rescue crews discovered his capsized boat along the Heart River Monday, but no trace of him. Reporter Andrew Horn has been following this story since it broke.
Search crews still have not found the missing Bismarck man after 2 days, and they say that as the weather continues to get warmer, their job gets a lot harder. After another long day of searching, rescue teams have not found Lynn Fairfield. Rescuers say the conditions in the water aren't helping the search.
With the cameras, it's not even picking up the attachments in front of it. So there's zero visibility, and then there is a lot of underground entanglements that we're running into, some logs and rocks and different brush piles and things of that nature.
Morton County Sheriff Kyle Kirkmeyer says operations will continue as long as possible.
With the rivers and the lakes at this point, because the ice is so unstable, that you just never know. It's not worth the chance.
Slide the hook down to the side and then they can pull it back.
Crews pulled Fairfield's boat out of the water, but have no other information on his whereabouts. Kirkmeyer adds people should be extra cautious around the water.
We're going to search, as long as we can. We want to make sure that safety for the individual searching is a prime concern, especially with the current and the ice.
Kirkmeyer said one of the things that could complicate the recovery efforts tomorrow would be the water levels, which he's expecting to rise overnight. Reporting at the Heart River, I'm Andrew Horn, West Dakota Fox.
Henry, we're having a roller coaster week with temperatures right now.
Yeah, I just wish it could stay like it did today because we actually got into the 50s, which is normal, but that's all going to change over the next 24 hours.
Thank you, Henry. For those of you planning on getting a medical marijuana card, it's important to understand that you would have to give up your guns. Under federal law, you cannot both consume illegal drugs and own a firearm. Daniela Hurtado takes a closer look at the rules.
Gun stores in the state are required to run a federal background check. One question on the form asks about being an unlawful user of drugs like marijuana. With voters approving medical marijuana in the state, it leaves a lingering question for cannabis consumers. Which will you choose?
Whether it's ammunition or a gun, if you get a medical marijuana card, you won't be able to have both.
North Dakotans as a whole seem to like their firearms, and that's going to be a huge issue.
Under federal law, someone who unlawfully uses a controlled substance cannot have a gun or ammunition.
The problem I can foresee with that is how people read through the definition of that question.
When applying for a gun, you're asked the unlawfully question. Something more interesting is a warning under the question, which says marijuana remains unlawful under federal law regardless of whether it has been legalized in the state where you reside.
People want to own a gun and, smoking a plant's going to prohibit that, then that's kind of just not right in my mind.
Medical marijuana, a tug of war between state and federal agencies.
Well, the federal agency is going to trump the state one.
So as the state begins to roll out dispensaries, which will people choose?
Sharvit says he wonders if you'll have to ask customers more questions or be required to ask people purchasing for their medical marijuana cards. Regardless, he says he will continue to follow federal requirements to sell.
A Spirit Lake man was just indicted on charges of second-degree murder and voluntary manslaughter in the death of his girlfriend back in November. The U.S. Attorney's Office tells us 42-year-old Willard Graywind is accused of killing Jogina Austin in the Spirit Lake Reservation. New details tonight in a McKenzie County pipeline plan. The State Public Service Commission held a public hearing today in Watford City to hear a proposal to convert an existing gathering pipeline system into a transmission line. In January, Hess North Dakota Pipeline, LLC, applied for the conversion of the pipeline to improve the export of crude oil. The proposal calls for changes to a 19-mile stretch of the existing line. The project comes with a $13 million price tag. Commissioners want to make sure the company has an adequate emergency response plan in place before approving the addition.
want to make sure that the company is prepared with the best possible leak detection on this line before we permit it, to make sure that there isn't a plan in place that allows for a leak to go undetected for a long period of time.
Hess will follow up with the PCS on April 24th. Speaking of energy, North Dakota is the first in the country to be approved to regulate geologic storage of carbon dioxide. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt signed the application this morning. The state industrial commissioner says North Dakota has an 800-year supply of lignite coal, and the state is committed to responsibly using it to provide inexpensive and reliable electricity. The commission says the carbon capture storage offers long-term solutions for the advancement of coal technologies. A new report from the Job Service North Dakota indicates that the state is booming. Region 1, which encompasses Divide, Williams, and McKenzie counties, reported 1,400 job openings last month. That's the highest number since 2015.
Well, job market's strong and it's growing. We definitely need workers in all industries, not just oil field. There's ag, there's retail, services. Everyone is in need of workers.
To get your resume in front of these companies, Zur says to go online and register with the Job Service ND at jobsnd.com. Speaking of jobs, area employers spent the afternoon with hundreds of potential workers at a job fair in Bismarck. 60 employers were on hand looking for full and part-time workers as well as interns. Some businesses say it's hard to find workers right now with such a low unemployment rate. That includes Art Thompson with JMac Resources, which is gearing up for construction season.
The last several years have been very challenging to find those employees. There's a lot more competition for the workers. There's a lot more opportunities. So if you're looking for a job, it's probably better for you as a potential employee than it is as an employer.
Thompson said he's looking for about 8 employees to fill the driving and concrete labor positions. A hydrologist with the National Weather Service in Bismarck says flooding won't be an issue this year. Alan Schlag says snow and water totals are well below problematic levels, and with continued below normal temperatures, the melt rate will be more controlled.
Without having a sudden shift to above normal temperatures, something that puts us in the 60-degree range, or having a 45, 50-degree day with an inch of water, known as rain, coming out of the sky, we shouldn't see that much runoff being generated.
Schlag adds that ice jams are a problem for smaller rivers. Well, Mother Nature has certainly delayed the start of spring planting here in North Dakota. With another snowstorm forecasted for the weekend, wet fields covered are forcing some farmers to reconsider their planting plans. Several varieties of corn require 4 months to plant, mature, and harvest. The window for seeding of some types of corn is now closing, but Caitlin Blackwelder of North Dakota Corn Growers Association says producers still have several options, even if the weather remains cold and wet.
They could switch to a variety of corn that takes less days to grow, but a lot of times they'll switch to a crop like soybeans.
The USDA estimates 3 million acres of corn will be planted in North Dakota. However, that number could be reduced if some producers switch to soybeans. There are 6,000 corn producers in the state waiting to plant their crops. Dramatic video tonight of children jumping for their lives out of a burning building in New Jersey. You can see the flames lapping up the sides of the structure. This is in Edgewater. Several girls screamed as they fell into the arms of first responders below. Fire officials say several people were taken to the hospital, but their injuries are not life-threatening. The cause of the fire is under investigation. In Scottsdale, Arizona, 6 people are dead after a small plane crashes onto a golf course. Police believe the plane, a Piper PA-24, crashed just after takeoff. No one on board survived impact. Authorities have yet to release their names. The NTSB has been on scene all day investigating. One person is dead after a charter bus crashes in Walker County, Texas. That crash happening on I-45 around 2:30 this afternoon. Approximately 75 people were on board the bus when it crashed. A passenger in the vehicle that collided with the charter bus was also killed. No word yet on the cause of that accident. Police in Florida are investigating what appears to be a murder-suicide at a rest stop. A 46-year-old Dallas man was driving to Melbourne, Florida with his girlfriend and her daughter when they stopped at a rest area off Interstate 10. Florida Highway Patrol says the man fatally shot his 34-year-old girlfriend, then shot her 18-year-old daughter twice. The man then turned the gun on himself. The cause of the incident is under investigation. Comedian and former Silicon Valley star TJ Miller is facing charges tonight after reportedly calling in a phony bomb threat. Miller was arrested yesterday at New York City's LaGuardia Airport. Prosecutors say Miller was on an Amtrak train on March 18th when he called police allegedly claiming a woman with brown hair and a scarf had a bomb in her bag. That was proven to be false. Police believe Miller was allegedly motivated by a grudge against the woman when he called 911. A wild crash caught on camera. Take a look. A car slams through the front window of a 7-Eleven. This is in Lawrence, Massachusetts. You can see the woman's pretty unfazed by the whole encounter. A 64-year-old man was hit and was taken to the hospital with a leg injury. The cause of that crash also under investigation. Terrifying moments in Pennsylvania. A truck falls off an overpass onto a highway below, spilling its entire load of empty beer kegs. Police say the tractor trailer was driving on I-95 in Bensalem this morning when the truck rolled off the exit ramp. So far, no injuries have been reported. The crash is under investigation. In Indonesia, bootleg liquor is being blamed for dozens of recent deaths. At least 50 people have reportedly died after drinking the homemade alcohol tainted with various ingredients, including insect repellent. The local health agency says more than 100 people who drank the tainted booze have been hospitalized since last week. Police raided a warehouse and found hundreds of bootleg liquor bottles and barrels filled with the toxic cocktail. Back home, Wells Fargo could be facing some hefty fines. Reuters reports the bank could face as much as $1 billion in penalties stemming from lending abuses. President Trump has promised to go after Wells Fargo for overcharging some home buyers who are trying to lock down low mortgage rates. The bank has already been fined in connection with a phony accounts scandal. And it may feel like winter, not today, it felt a little like spring, but Washington is in full spring tulip bloom. This is in Skagit County, where a field filled with blooming tulips is transforming the area into a sea of vibrant colors. The cold temperatures may seem like a bad thing for the flower, but one growing expert says it's actually ideal growing season right now. So Henry, I guess 7 months of winter has one silver lining.
Yeah, that's for sure. It looks like we're going to get some more winter weather come tonight.
Welcome back. Today, Mark Zuckerberg is in the hot seat addressing lawmakers over a Facebook privacy breach that affects millions of users. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively is on Capitol Hill with what Zuckerberg had to say about this ongoing PR nightmare.
We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake.
Appearing at a joint hearing with the Senate Commerce and Judiciary Committees, it's the first of 2 days of anticipated testimony from Mark Zuckerberg on the privacy scandal plaguing his company.
What I think we've learned now across a number of issues, not just data privacy, but also fake news and foreign interference in elections, is that we need to take a more proactive role and a broader view of our responsibility.
Facebook facing criticism after British political consulting firm Cambridge Analytica gained access to the personal information of 87 million Facebook users.
If you and other social media companies do not get your act in order, none of us are going to have any privacy anymore.
The scandal follows concerns Facebook was used for Russian meddling in the 2016 election. Some 126 million people may have been given content from a Facebook page linked to a St. Petersburg-based agency said to be involved in the interference. Another 20 million were most likely served that content on Facebook-owned Instagram.
They're going to keep on getting better at this, and we need to invest in keeping on getting better at this too.
A new discovery raises more questions about the integrity of Facebook's platform and the content it hosts. Turns out the biggest Black Lives Matter page on Facebook is fake. The page Black Lives Matter had almost 700,000 followers on Facebook, more than twice as many as the official Black Lives Matter page. CNN has learned it was a scam with ties to a middle-aged white man in Australia. A new study out about mosquitoes shows middle-income neighborhoods are most likely to get swarmed. That's because they're more likely to have standing water, which is breeding ground for the insects. That means bird baths, tire puddles, or small ponds. Vector Control asks neighbors to keep an eye out for stagnant water. Henry, one good thing about this long winter is we've been able to dodge the mosquitoes.
Yes, and we'll need to get a lot warmer than we are right now, and the moisture. But hey, we will be talking about moisture later tonight and into the morning hours. Otherwise, we're going to be starting out right near 30 degrees for tomorrow morning, and there will be chances of precipitation. If there's any snow accumulation, it's going to be mainly from Minot into the Turtle Mountains and the northern James and Red River valleys. Otherwise, the big storm system for Friday looking to push a little farther to the south with a heavier wet snow accumulation likely south of Interstate 94. Along the interstate, there will still be chances of snow and a little bit of accumulation, just not as much as near the North and South Dakota state line. Otherwise, looks like it's going to be cold for a while, so still waiting for spring to get here. It's just not happening.
Henry, do mosquitoes like you?
Not at the moment.
That's surprising because you're so sweet.
Oh, thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow.